The crystal chandelier shattered like my heart when Elena Voss's fingers locked around my wrist, pulling me onto the dance floor amid gasps from the black tie crowd. "You're mine now," she whispered, her breath hot against my ear, as if she just signed away my soul in invisible ink. In that split second, under the golden haze of the autumn charity ball, I knew freedom was a lie, and her forbidden secret would drag us both into the abyss. I never asked for this. My name's Melody Harper, 28. Scraping by as a barista in Brooklyn with dreams of owning my own coffee shop someday. That night, October 15th, the air in the grand ballroom of the Plaza Hotel hummed with old money and fresh perfume. The kind of scent that screams, "I've never waited in line for anything." I was there as hired help, circulating trays of champagne flutes for the elite who'd flown in from the Hamptons and Silicon Valley to pat themselves on the back for writing checks to orphanages they'd never visit. The leaves outside were turning that fiery New England red, but inside felt like summer, sticky, suffocating, full of unspoken hungers. Elena Voss spotted me first. She was 30, heir to Voss Industries, the conglomerate that built half the skyscrapers clawing at the Manhattan sky. Tall, porcelain-skinned, with a blonde bob that framed her face like a Renaissance painting gone rogue. Her blue eyes could freeze you or thaw you, depending on the light. She wore emerald silk that hugged her like a lover's regret, diamonds winking at her throat. I'd seen her type in magazines, philanthropist by day, ghost by night. But when our eyes met across the room, as I balanced a tray past a cluster of Botox socialites, it wasn't pity or curiosity in her gaze. It was possession. "Miss," she called, her voice cutting through the string quartet's rendition of some Gershwin tune. Heads turned. I froze, flute in hand. "Yes. You. Come here." The command was velvet-wrapped steel. And before I could mutter an excuse about my uniform, black skirt, white blouse, sensible flats, she'd crossed the marble floor in 3 strides. Her hand on my arm was electric, not forceful, but insistent, like she was claiming lost property. The room blurred as she led me to the center, where couples swirled in practiced elegance. Whispers rippled. "Isn't that Voss's girl?" With the help. My cheeks burned, but her touch anchored me. She took the tray from my numb fingers, handing it off to a wide-eyed waiter without breaking stride. Then, in front of God, the mayor, and a dozen tabloid photographers, she pulled me into a waltz. My body betrayed me, molding to hers as if we'd rehearsed this a lifetime. Her scent, jasmine and something sharper, like aged bourbon, filled my lungs. "What the hell are you doing?" I hissed, my heart pounding against her chest. "Dancing," she murmured, her lips brushing my temple. "And saving us both." Her words hung there, a hook in my gut. Saving? From what? But the music swelled, and her hand at the small of my back pressed just enough to silence questions. Around us, the autumn ball spun on, candlelight flickering on silverware, laughter tinkling like ice in scotch glasses. Yet in that stolen 3 minutes, the world narrowed to her, the curve of her neck, the faint scar above her collarbone, the way her eyes dared me to pull away. When the song ended, applause scattered like confetti, but Elena didn't let go. She leaned in, voice low. "Meet me upstairs. Room 1408. Midnight. Don't make me beg." Then she was gone, swallowed by admirers, leaving me adrift in a sea of silk and suspicion. My boss, a harried woman named Carla, yanked me back to the kitchen. What was that? Harper, you trying to get us fired? I mumbled apologies, my skin still tingling where she'd touched me. But as I cleared plates of foie gras and caviar I'd never tasted, my mind raced. Who was I to say no to a woman like that? And why did it feel like yes was already written in my bones? Midnight found me knocking on the mahogany door of 1408. Palms slick. Pulse a drumbeat. The Plaza's suites were legends. Egyptian cotton sheets. Views of Central Park ablaze in fall foliage. Elena opened in a robe the color of midnight. Her hair tousled. Eyes shadowed. No makeup. No armor. Just her. You came, she said. Not a question. Pulling me inside. The room smelled of rain and room service, half-eaten strawberries on a silver tray. I shouldn't have, but I was there. Drawn like a moth. She poured us scotch from the minibar. Neat. And we sat on the velvet chaise by the window. Outside, the city lights bled into the night. A mosaic of ambition and ache. Tell me why, I demanded. Sipping the burn. Why me? I'm nobody. She laughed. Soft and bitter. That's the point. Everyone down there wants a piece of Voss. But you. You looked at me like I was human. Her fingers traced the rim of her glass. Then, haltingly, the secret spilled. Elena was the last of the Voss line. Groomed since birth to marry into the Harrington dynasty. Old oil money. Conservative as a crypt. The merger was set for spring. Sealing empires. But Elena was gay. Had been since she kissed a girl at boarding school in Connecticut, and got shipped off to conversion therapy in the Bible Belt. They broke me there, she whispered. Voice cracking. Prayers and shocks. But I survived. And tonight, seeing you strong, real, I couldn't pretend anymore. I reached for her hand, our fingers lacing like they'd always known the way. So what now? You drag a waitress into your mess. But my voice was gentle, the scotch warming the edges of fear. Now, she said, leaning close. We steal a night. Her lips met mine. Tentative at first. Then hungry. It was fire and forgiveness. Her body yielding under my hands as we tumbled to the bed. Skin on skin. Whispers in the dark. Her telling me about summers in the vineyard. Me sharing stories of my mom's jazz records spinning in our cramped Queens apartment. For hours, we were just two women. Unscripted. Unbound. Dawn crept in, painting the sheets gold. And as she slept against my shoulder, I traced that scar. A burn mark. She'd said later, from the therapy. My rage simmered. But so did something deeper. Love? Too soon. But connection? Undeniable. We parted with promises. Call me, she said, slipping a card into my palm, her private line. No assistance. I nodded, kissing her goodbye like it wasn't the end of the world. Back in Brooklyn, life resumed, double shifts at the cafe, dodging my roommate's questions about the hickey blooming on my neck. But Elena texted flirty emojis, then deeper, photos of her in boardrooms, looking fierce, voice notes of her humming Nina Simone under her breath. We met in shadows, hidden speakeasies in the village, walks along the high line where the autumn air nipped at our scarves. She was poetry in motion, quoting Whitman while I teased her about her trust fund lattes. You're changing me, she'd say. Her head on my lap as we picnicked in Prospect Park. Leaves crunching under us like applause. By Thanksgiving, it was real. She flew me to her family's estate in the Berkshires, framed as charity consultant, since I'd spun a yarn about community outreach for my dream shop. The house was a monument to excess. Roaring fireplaces, walls lined with ancestors glaring from oil paint. Her father, Reginald Voss, was a silver fox with a handshake like a vice. Her mother, Lydia, dripped pearls and passive aggression. The Harringtons arrived for Turkey was perfection. Led by Edward, Elena's betrothed, a bland Kendall with a law degree from Yale. Dinner was a minefield, toasts to mergers, sidelong glances at me. Elena's foot nudged mine under the table. A secret Morse code. That night, in the guest wing, we made love with the door locked, her gasps muffled in pillows. I love you, she breathed after. The words a vow. But secrets fester. December brought snow to the city, blanketing sins in white. Elena pulled away, text sparse. Excuses about deals. I chalked it up to holidays. Family pressure. Then, Christmas Eve. My phone buzzed with a link from a gossip site. Voss Harrington engagement party. Power couple of the year. Photos of Elena. Radiant in red velvet. Edward's arm possessive around her waist. No ring yet. But the caption screamed inevitability. My stomach dropped. Betrayal? Or survival? I confronted her at her penthouse on the Upper East Side. The doorman waving me up like I belonged. She opened the door in silk pajamas. Eyes red-rimmed. Melody. It's not. But I cut her off, shoving my phone at her face. What is this? Our nights were bullshit. Tears streamed. Hot and furious. She collapsed onto the leather couch, head in hands. They found out. About us. A maid saw us at the estate, told my father. He threatened to cut me off. Expose everything. The therapy records. The disgrace. Edward doesn't care. He wants the merger. It's a sham marriage. Melody. I told them I'd do it if they leave you alone. Leave me alone? I laughed. Hollow. You think that's protection? You're selling us out. The room spun. Her luxury a cage I wandered into blind. She grabbed my hand, pleading. I love you. This buys time. I'll fight from inside, but doubt poisoned it all. Was I the dirty secret? The fling to tide her over? I stormed out into the snow, her sobs echoing in the marble hall. January was ice, literal and not. Quit the cafe. Too raw for small talk over cappuccinos. Nights blurred in dive bars, drowning regret in cheap whiskey. Elena's voicemails piled up. Please, talk to me. I deleted them, but listened in the dark. Her voice a ghost. Then, Valentine's, irony's cruel joke, a package arrived. A first edition of Audre Lorde's poetry. Inscribed, You are my revolution. Forgive me. Enclose. A key to a brownstone in Harlem. Our place. Bought in secret. My walls cracked. We met there. Neutral ground. The air thick with unsaid. She looked wrecked, thinner. Shadows under her eyes. I'm ending it, she said. Voice steel. The engagement. Everything. We talked till dawn. Her childhood in gilded isolation. My fears of being the help forever. Love rebuilt. Brick by painful brick. But betrayal's scar lingered. A reminder that trust is fragile as autumn frost. Spring teased with cherry blossoms when the climax hit. Elena's father summoned us to the estate, a family meeting. Reginald loomed in his study. Walls of leather-bound ledgers. A decanter of scotch sweating on the desk. "You've poisoned her," he snarled at me. Face purple. Elena stood tall beside me, hand in mine. "No, Father. You've poisoned us all." The words unleashed hell. Threats of disinheritance. Lawsuit. Reparative exile. Edward lurked in the hall, smug, offering Elena a velvet box, the ring, a noose disguised as sparkle. She hurled it at him. "Take your merger and shove it." Chaos erupted, yells, slamming doors. Outside, under a weeping willow heavy with new leaves, Elena turned to me. "Run with me." Her eyes, blue as a summer storm, begged. I nodded, heart full. We fled to the city, her Porsche devouring miles, radio blasting Aretha. But Reginald's reach was long. By dawn, alerts buzzed, Vostok plummeting, headlines screaming Heiress flees fiancé in lesbian scandal. The backlash was biblical. Paparazzi swarmed the brownstone, slinging slurs like confetti. Elena's accounts froze, mine, laughably small, got death threats from trolls. We holed up, ordering Thai in the dark, her head on my shoulder as she wept for the empire crumbling. "Was it worth it?" I asked one night, tracing her scar. She lifted my chin, kissing me slow. "You're my worth it, but doubt not." Was I dragging her down, or lifting her up? The world saw scandal, we saw survival. Summer baked the city, humidity mirroring our sweat-soaked nights. Elena fought back, press conference in a borrowed suit. Voice steady. "I'm Elena Voss. And I'm gay." Proudly. "This isn't a phase, it's my life." The clip went viral. Dividing America. Allies cheering. Haters howling. Sponsors fled. But supporters surged, funds for queer youth. Her name on petitions. Me? I poured our story into a blog. Anonymous at first. Then bold. From ball gowns to battlegrounds. Loving in the shadows. Betrayal's echo faded as we built anew. She started a foundation, Voss Forward, for LGBTQ plus entrepreneurs. I opened that coffee shop in Bed-Stuy, Melody's Brew, with her design tweaks and my grit. Patrons came for the lattes, stayed for the vibe, jazz vinyl spinning, rainbow flags subtle but proud. By fall's return, a year since the ball, we stood on that same plaza balcony, leaves swirling like confetti. No chandeliers, just us. Elena slipped a ring on my finger, simple platinum, engraved with "claimed forever." "Marry me?" she asked, voice trembling. I pulled her close. "The city our witness." Hell yes. It wasn't perfect. Lawsuits lingered. Family ties severed like bad haircuts. But in the quiet, her hand in mine, I saw the humanism, love as rebellion, scars as stories. We'd claimed each other, forbidden no more. And in America's messy heart, that was victory enough. The wedding was small, defiant, a rooftop affair in Bushwick, graffiti walls framing our vows under a harvest moon. Elena in a cream pantsuit that made her look like a queer Audrey Hepburn, me in a flowing midi dress the color of aged whiskey, curls wild and free. Our officiant, a drag queen named Ruby Royale, cracked jokes that had our 30 guests, mostly queer artists, baristas, and one rogue Voss cousin howling. "Do you, Melody Harper, take this heiress to have and to hold? In sickness and in stock crashes." Laughter bubbled. But when Elena's eyes met mine, saying I do, it was sacred. Rings exchanged. A kiss that tasted like champagne and second chances. The city thrummed below, indifferent to our triumph. But humanism isn't fairy tale. It's the grind after the glow. Post-honeymoon, 2 weeks in Provincetown, biking dunes and holding hands on whale watches reality bit. Elena's foundation launched amid fanfare. But donors whispered about the scandal. My shop thrive. Lines out the door for our signature Heiress latte. Espresso with a Voss vanilla twist. But suppliers jacked prices, hinting at boycotts. We leaned in. Nights tangled in our Harlem bed. Whispering dreams. Kids someday, she'd muse. Fingers on my belly. I laughed. Adoption. Sure. But first, let's not bankrupt. Fall deep in. Leaves carpeting sidewalks like fallen soldiers. Elena's father reached out. A letter. Crisp vellum. No warmth. Return. Redeem. She burned it in our fireplace. Ashes swirling up the flue. He's the past, she said. But I saw the flinch. Betrayal's ghost lingered. Not just his, but hers from that engagement photo that gutted me. Trust rebuilt. But fragile. Like a mosaic of cracked porcelain. November brought Thanksgiving redux. Our version. Potluck at the shop. Mismatched chairs. Turkey from a food truck. Elena's cousin. Theo. Showed tall. Awkward. The family's black sheep artist. Reginald's dying, he blurted over pie. Eyes on his plate. Cancer. Stage 4. Wants to see you. Elena's fork clattered. I squeezed her knee under the table. Silent support. That night, she paced our loft. Voice raw. What if I go? Foreclosure. Go, I said, pulling her down. But come back to me. Our lovemaking was fierce. Reclaiming bodies slick. Breaths mingling like prayers. She left for the Berkshires at dawn. Me waving from the stoop. Coffee mug steaming in the chill. She returned changed, hollowed, but whole. He apologized, she said. Unpacking in our kitchen. Rain pattering the windows. Said the therapy was his shame. Not mine. Left me the company. Fix it your way. Tears came then. Hot and healing. We cried together. Her head on my chest. The weight lifting like fog over the Hudson. Winter wrapped us in tinsel and trials. Elena dove into Voss Forward. Retooling the Empire Green, sustainable tech for underserved communities. I expanded the shop, adding a queer book nook. Story hours for kids with 2 moms drawing rainbows. But conflict brewed. Edward Harrington, that Kindle turned villain, sued for breach, claiming emotional distress. Court dates loomed. Depositions dredging the dirt. Elena's therapy logs leaked online. Twisted by tabloids into Heiress's dark past. The climax hit in February. Valentine's blizzard burying the city in white fury. We were in court. Federal Plaza's halls echoing with heels and hushed scandals. Edward's lawyer, a shark in pinstripes, paraded evidence. Blurry photos from the estate. My seduction framed as gold digging. Elena gripped my hand under the bench, knuckles white. When her turn came, she rose like Athena poised, unflinching. Yes, I loved Melody before the cameras clicked. And I'd choose her over your client's billions every time. The gallery murmured. The judge, a stern woman with a rainbow pin, adjourned with a bang. Outside, Snow whipped our faces as we fled to a cab. It's not over, Elena said, teeth chattering. But in our brownstone, stripping wet coats, we laughed manic. Alive. Fuck them, I said, drawing her a bath. We win by living. That night, under down quilts, we planned. Counter-sue for defamation. Turn pain to power. Spring bloomed vengeful. The case settled. Harringtons paid hush money. Elena's name cleared. She channeled it into scholarships, naming one after me. Melody grants for bold hearts. I watched her keynote at a gala. Spotlit in sapphire. Voice booming. Love isn't a secret. It's a revolution. Pride swelled. Tears pricking. Later, in the ladies' room, she pulled me into a stall, kissing me senseless. My muse, she whispered. Yet romance isn't linear. Emotions ebb. Summer solstice. We fought ugly. Over nothing. A forgotten anniversary dinner. Exhaustion from endless meetings. You're slipping back into Heiress mode, I accused. Slamming cabinets. All boardrooms know us, she fired back. And you're jealous of success I built for us. Words like knives. Drawing old blood, the betrayal scar reopening. We slept apart. The bed a chasm. Morning brought regret. Elena at my door with croissants and coffee. Eyes puffy. I'm scared, she admitted. Voice small. Of losing you to my mess. I pulled her in. Apologies melting into makeup sex slow. Tender. Reaffirming. We're the mess that works, I said. Tracing her scar. Humanistic truth. Love's not flawless. It's forgiveness forged in fire. By autumn's cusp. A year wed. We stood stronger. The brownstone buzzed. Adoption papers in process for a foster girl. Thick. With braids and a laugh like bells. Elena's book deal landed. Claimed. A memoir of defiance. My shop chained to 3 locations. Baristas unionize. Fair trade beans only. Reginald passed quietly. We attended the funeral from afar. Sending lilies. Closure. Not chains. One crisp October eve. Echoing our first ball. We danced in the kitchen, radio crooning Billie Holiday. Leaves pressing against the panes. Elena Spunme. Dipping low. Bound forever, she asked. Echoing that midnight vow. Thicker than blood, I replied. Pulling her close. In America's vast, flawed tapestry, we'd woven our thread dramatic, emotional, unapologetically ours. The secret, no longer forbidden, but free. The adoption hearing was a quiet earthquake. Family court in downtown Brooklyn. Fluorescent hum and the scent of stale coffee masking nervous hope. Little Aisha, 6 going on 16, sat between us in a starched dress. Her braids tied with yellow ribbons that matched her wary eyes. Dark skin like mine. Spirit fierce as Elena's. Will you be my mom's? She'd asked weeks prior. Crayon drawing clutched. 2 stick figures with crowns. A coffee cup and a skyscraper between them. Now, the judge, a no-nonsense Latina with kind crinkles, smiled. Approved. Congratulations. Mother's Vossharper. We emerged into sunlight. Aisha's hand in Elena's, mine on her shoulder. Ice cream, Elena suggested. Her blue eyes sparkling. Triple scoops at Ample Hills. Aisha's face smeared with mint chip. Giggles echoing off brownstones. That night, tucking her in our guest room, now hers, Walls painted lavender with glow-in-dark stars. Elena lingered. Voice thick. We're a family. I nodded. Throat tight. Pulling her to our bed. Lovemaking hushed. Reverent. As if birthing this new chapter. But drama shadows joy. Winter 2027 brought Voss Forward's first crisis. A partner firm. Harrington holdouts. Leaked docs alleging embezzlement fabricated. But toxic. Stock dipped. Headlines held Heiress's honeymoon over. Fraud in the family? Elena aged a decade overnight. Pacing boardrooms till midnight. I'd find her asleep at the kitchen island. Laptop glowing like accusation. Aisha sensed it. Drawings turning stormy. Clouds over our stick figure home. Is Daddy bad? She asked once. Confusing Edward's ghost with her absent bio-dad. I know. Honest. Some grown-ups make mistakes. But we fixed them together. Conflict peaked in March. Equinox winds howling. Elena confessed over takeout lo mein. I hit emails. From the old guard, offers to buy me out. Silent partner style. Betrayal's twin reared. Not full knife. But a nick. Why? I demanded. Chopsticks clattering. After everything? Her face crumpled. Fear. A failing you. Aisha. The empire's my curse. We argued till Aisha's cry-pierced nightmare. Thunder. United. We soothed her. Rocking in the glider. Dawn brought pact. Transparency tattoos. Metaphorically shared passwords. Weekly check-ins. Romance reignited in fragments. Stolen kisses at Aisha's school play. She as a fierce tree in the giving tree. Picnics in Central Park where Elena read Whitman aloud. Me sketching her profile. You're my forbidden fruit, she teased. Nipping my ear. Laughter healed. Deeper now. Laced with maturity. Summer swelled with milestones. Aisha's 7th birthday pool party in the Hamptons. Borrowed from Theo. Who'd become uncle in truth. Elena in a rash guard. Splashing like a kid. Me grilling veggie burgers. Heart full. But undercurrents stirred. Lydia Voss. Elena's mom. Arrived unannounced, pearls intact. But eyes softened. Grandmother. Aisha beamed. Hugging tentative legs. Dinner was tentative thaw, Lydia admitting. Wine loosened. I knew. About the therapy. Failed you. Elena's hand trembled in mine. Forgiveness? Partial. Start with Aisha, Elena said. Humanistic grace. Bridges half burned. But not ash. Fall 2027 mirrored our origin. An autumn gala. This time Elena's foundation ball at the Met. I wore emerald to match her memory. Aisha in a tiny tux. Fidgeting with bow tie. As we entered. Flashes popped. Elena's arm linked mine. Proud. Mrs. Vossharper. A reporter cooed. Scandal to success? Elena smiled. Sharp. Love to legacy. Mid-dance waltz again. Aisha twirling with Theo, we paused at the balcony. City lights a constellation. Remember the plaza? Elena murmured. Chin on my shoulder. Claimed you. Turned. Kissing her soft. Still are. Yet climax loomed. Unbidden. December. Solstice dark. Reginald's will contest it. Distant relatives clawing for scraps. Painting Elena the villainous. Court again. But this time. Allies. Lawyers pro bono from queer networks. Aisha's drawing submitted as exhibit. My mom's castle. The judge chuckled. Ruling swift. Elena's inheritance intact, with strings for charity. Victory tasted bittersweet, family fractured, but ours forged. Emotions crested New Year's. Times Square frozen throng below our rooftop perch. Aisha asleep inside, bundled. Fireworks boomed as Elena dropped to one knee. Not proposal, but promise. Vow renewal? Every year. Just us. Tears froze on my lashes. Yes. Bound eternal. Spring 2028 bloomed radical. Elena greenlit Voss's pivot, carbon neutral by 2030. Scholarships exploding. My chain hit 10 shops. Brewed with love ethos mentoring ex-felons. Aisha thrived, soccer star. Questions about two moms met with shrugs. Normal's boring, she'd quip. Betrayal's final echo? A letter from Edward. Postmarked Wyoming rehab. Regret. You freed me too, scrawled. Elena burned it. But softly. Human. After all. By autumn's gold. 3 years wet. We revisited the plaza, Suite 1408. Nostalgia's pull. Aisha with Theo. Sleepover adventure. In that bed. Sheets unchanged. Elena traced my lines. Our story, she whispered. Dramatic as hell, I laughed. Pulling her atop. Emotional wrecking ball. Romantic fever dream. Human to the core. She kissed my scar. Wait. Mine now. From a shop mishap. Badge of battles. And ours. In America's churning soul writes one. Losses etched we danced on. Not heirs to empires, but to each other. The secret? No claim, but choice. Forever unbound, yet tethered true.